Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Thronebreaker. And we are just getting on our way, doing some looting, before we head on over to the main quest. And we have potentially a couple of puzzles, or things of that sort, before we actually end up going there. Ooh, this is interesting. Something that we, in theory, might be able to unlock later on. Now, this is strange. It looks like there's a puzzle that is on that cow's butt. So, okay. Maybe not exactly what I was expecting, but I suppose we can give it a look. Also nab this. Oh, make sure no one sees you. People are already talking. Your beloved bee. Not sure who your beloved bee might be, but I have to imagine that's probably for this. Okay, unlocked, and now we can take it. My fluffy sweet bun. My heart aches, but I cannot sneak away. So many have arrived in the village, it's become impossible to slip away unnoticed. I spun a tale for my nosy aunties to escape even for this briefest of moments. I managed to sneak some silverware under my dress, but I think it best to leave it here for now and return once the hysteria has died. Soon, we'll have enough to begin our new life. Together, I'll watch for you. Forever yours. B. Okay, well, we'll be on the lookout for people whose names start with B. Is there anything else we can loot here before we investigate that puzzle? Let's take a quick look at our map here, see if anything else is popping up. That is the puzzle. I think that's probably next on our list in that case. Let's go check it out. What might be the issue with these cows? Okay, notably, this is not one of the ones that just randomly, or not really randomly, but automatically triggers as soon as you walk up to them. But those tend to be the puzzles that seem to be, more sort of like a puzzle battle of sorts with some kind of monster. Fortunate in that case to see that's not the case with the cows, so I was a little bit worried that perhaps it would do something like that, which still startled me. Even though I did manually click in. So I wasn't expecting the sound effect is all. Let's see. The peasants of Lyria have a saying. Flog a cow and her ilk, you'll get blood in place of milk. Young herdsmen naive enough to ignore such folk wisdom rarely live to a ripe old age. Eliminate the deranged cow. Does it have a 16 power? Because if so, then that is a powerful cow after all, and that is basically what I was wondering was, is it going to actually be some kind of evil confrontational cow that will attack us as soon as we approach it? And given how we had to manually trigger it, I thought, perhaps not, but after reading this, perhaps so. Do not let any other cows perish. And use your leader's ability, okay? That's strange that we are explicitly directed to do so. It is, of course, a puzzle with special rules, short in battle, so presumably, yep, just one round, and we'll have a customized deck. Let's get it started. Okay, so only one round. And what is the deal here? Yes, it is in fact 16 strength. So we have to eliminate this deranged cow. After 2 turns on turn start, destroy the lowest cow. If there are multiple, damage only one of them by 1 instead. Okay, I was going to say, at first it sounded like we were just going to have exactly 2 turns to get the job done, and only that, which is a little nerve-wracking, but so if there are multiple cows, then you'll just damage them. Damage only one of them by 1. Oh, no, actually, hold on. So on the first turn, actually, after 2 turns, it will lower one of these cows from a 3 to a 4. But then unless we can boost said cow back up to a 4, then that means, or higher than a 4, that means that cow that gets reduced to a 3 will subsequently get destroyed, presumably after another 2 turns. So, yeah, we don't have much time. And then again, we don't have many cards either, so I suppose that was probably to be expected. And it did also say that we need to use our leader ability. It's Warhammer. Well, is that... I mean, that's what we had set. I don't know if the puzzle would have hard locked us on Warhammer, or if it could have potentially given us something else. Had we just opted to use something else. So, remember this is... Oh, move a card, top of your deck, and strengthen it by 3, then trigger allies' loyal abilities. I mean, we can trigger allies' loyal abilities, but I don't think we're going to get any card draw, just seeing as how, well, this is a 1-round puzzle, so that may mean that if we can switch, we'd like to. That may mean we're in a bit of trouble here, but let's see. So we can play the top Blitz unit from our deck. No, okay. In that case, it is possible. It is still possible to benefit from it. So, okay. All is not lost in that sense. Damage unit by a number of cards in a row. So that's presumably going to be one of our primary sources of damage. Let's see, then give one charge units depleted order. Right, so we're going to want to use Reynard at the end, probably, to basically reset all of our order abilities. Oh. Hold on. We could use Decoy to play Reynard twice. And that means we could have our other cards use their abilities 3 times. That's gotta be the answer, right? But, man, in that case, I mean, that is quite powerful, I would think. But, my question would be, can we still do that? Is that still fast enough? Or is this deranged cow going to destroy a cow before we can make all that stuff happen? Because that does take several turns to get all those Reynards to do their thing. And if we're playing the top Blitz unit from our deck, that means... you would want to set that up using Warhammer. It would need to be a Blitz unit, and remember, it is important that we make sure the unit we were trying to do is a Blitz unit. Okay, all of them are, so there's no tricks there. Summon all copies of this unit. I mean, that's... gives us strength, but it doesn't damage our opponents, so I don't think that's what we're looking for. More likely we're looking to bring a Lyria and Rivia out. Yeah, and I think, like we were saying, we can have our abilities, our order abilities trigger 3 times, and there are 3 Lyria and Rivia in our deck. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that is a, perhaps not so subtle hint that that is the card you should be playing from your deck using the Regiment Drummer. Although, then again, this has cooldown 3. So, I suppose we can't guarantee that every single time we use this, that's going to be the card we get. But I think that might be reason enough to try to lead off with that. Let's go leader ability here. And make sure... I mean, is this... Okay, so other question. In multiplayer Gwent, when you look at your deck, the cards in your deck are not listed in the order in which they are actually stacked in your deck. So, like, for example, this is not necessarily the top card in our deck, or at least in multiplayer Gwent, this would not necessarily be the top card in our deck. It could be this, it could be this, it could be this, it could be anything. This is just not the order of our deck in multiplayer Gwent. However, I actually don't know if it is the order in Thronebreaker, or if it is, like, multiplayer Gwent, totally randomized, the order in which we're seeing them here. Because if it is in order, then that means that we don't actually need to move this one to the top. We would have gotten it anyway, and we should have instead just saved our leader ability for a little bit. But if this is random, then we should still be doing our leader ability to guarantee that we're getting one here. So I think what we'll do is, I mean, we can hedge our bets. We can hedge our bets. Let's put this Lyria and Rivia at the top, and that way, you know, if we trigger the first round of this drummer's ability, we'll get this Arbalist, and then if we trigger our drummer's ability again, then we'll get the other Arbalist. That may actually be the trick here, is using that correctly. So let's go play the drummer, and I imagine we're just going to want to maximize the damage. I think that's going to be my top priority here.
Left, right.
Is maximize the damage coming from the Arbalist and just target the deranged cow with all that. And hopefully that's what you need to do here. But it could be that in truth, we actually need to get really creative and damage cows such that they are all still on the same amount of power, so that gives us a little bit more time. The deranged cow, rather than just destroying this cow, the next go round is just going to damage another one and bring it down from 3 to 2. Hoping that's not the case, but we shall see. So I think now what we're looking to do is we're going Lyria and Rivia, and we're going to put it in this row where, of course, it will deal more damage. And as I was saying, I'm just going to focus all of our damage on this cow here. So now we go with the Regiment Drummer, and we should get this Arbalist. So we deal more damage there. And so now we end our turn, and that means we have one more turn before this deranged cow will damage again. And I don't know. I think we do. I think we do actually need damage another cow to buy ourselves a little bit more time. I think that's a thing. Because otherwise, I mean, we're not going to have enough damage to destroy this deranged cow here. So, ooh, in which case, yeah. In which case, what you actually would want to do is I think you'd want to go Arbalist first, rather than Drummer, or just stagger the rows in which they're located. So that way you can deal 1 damage with an Arbalist to make sure that you have 2 3-power cows, so that way you're slowing down the pace at which the deranged cow is actually going to destroy something. So I don't think we have the answer just yet, but we may have figured it out for future use. Yeah, so we do this, and actually, so like here, for example, we can't guarantee that we get the card we're looking for, although my theory was, I mean, we can still learn here. My hypothesis was that perhaps this is actually the order in which the cards are showing up, and so what you do is, with your first round of leader ability, you move one of the Arbalists that was at the bottom of the deck to the top, then so that's what you're going to get with the first round of the Drummer. Second round of the Drummer, you'll get the Arbalist that just starts at the top of your deck automatically, and then third round of the Drummer, you'll, at that point, have your leader ability off cooldown to put this one at the top of your deck, and so you'll take that one. I think that's probably the way that works out. But so let's use this, see if we can confirm it is that Arbalist, so whether that's a coincidence or that's actually guaranteed. Not entirely sure, although to tell you the truth, we do this. There we go. We now have 2 3-power cows. So that means that, yep, now the deranged cow will hit this cow rather than destroying this cow here. So we bought ourselves a little more time. Like I said, now we're going to want to use leader ability again and put this Arbalist at the top of our deck. So that way we go decoy on you, get you back, end our turn. Yeah, so now we have, this will be our final turn. Of course, this is our final card, so it makes sense. But let's go Reynard here. That resets you, which gives us this, and that gives us this. But that's still not enough damage. Yeah. So I think what we have to do is I think the only thing that we need to do differently this time is rather than wasting this Arbalist a little bit by playing him in the range row, reducing the amount of damage and using that to get two cows on even amount of power, I think it does mean we need to go Lyria and Arbalist in the melee row first. Or at least time that... The timing was a little bit off, either way. And I think we do want to try to stack all of our units in that same row so that ultimately we do have more damage so that when we're looking to take out the deranged cow, we can actually do so. Ooh, although, tell you what, I did just have another idea. Perhaps, we actually do want to use the Ravine Pikeman. Because although we don't care about getting all the points on our side from summoning all of them, it does give us a whole bunch of units on the playing field, which does mean that the Arbalist can then deal more damage. So if we get all of them out, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Means an Arbalist would, at a minimum, do 6 damage, if not more. And didn't that deranged cow have 6 power at the end of that previous attempt? Okay. That may be worth considering here. Well, let's see. So we do go first. Let's tell you what, that does mean that Lyria and Arbalist first does not work. I think we do need to... play one in the range row then on our second turn by some means. Because obviously we can't do it now, because if we do that, then there's going to be one cow that has lower power than everyone else, and we immediately lose as soon as we pass. So I do think the answer is very much the Regiment Drummer first. That much we can say with confidence.
Again and again and again.
Have our leader ability here. And so this is my real question now. Do we actually want to do this? Is this actually what we're looking for? Because it might be. I'm curious. I want to see how the numbers line up if we do this. So now you'll damage that cow. Ooh. Oh. Okay, no, it doesn't actually matter which cow you damage. I was going to say for a second, do we care that you damaged one in the range row? Do we now suddenly need to damage this other cow in the range row? Because that does complicate things, because the Arbalist can only do that from the melee row, otherwise it doesn't have enough range to hit it all the way from back here. And by playing an Arbalist here, we are increasing the amount of damage the Arbalist does, so this would be bumping that cow down to 2 power, in which case it would get destroyed, and that would defeat the whole purpose. But I think we can do any cow, doesn't matter which row, so we should still be fine here. So I think what we do now is I think we use the Regiment Drummer to get this guy out and just load up on this row. So this is going to be to give ourselves additional damage with future Lyria and Arbalists, which we will get from a Regiment Drummer plus leader ability on our next turn, or at least with a little bit more time. Now what we need to do is, this is where I think we take this opportunity to damage one of these cows. So now we are all good for this next round from the deranged cow. And what we want to do is we want to do Reynard in this row.
Her Majesty knows what she's doing.
And let's just check here. So we would be getting an Arbalist from our deck, because those are the only cards we have in our deck at this stage. So this is guaranteed. And now at this stage, we're just looking to maximize the damage. And it's 8. I think we've got it. I think we've got it. So yeah, now it damages one of these cows. We go Decoy to get back Reynard. Then we could leader ability. It shouldn't really matter here, but sure. Why not? Give ourselves a little more power for good measure. End turn. Then we go Reynard here again.
Discipline shall bring us
Reactivates this to give us another Arbalist in this row. And there it is. Interesting one. Not initially the way that I thought we were going to need to solve that one, but that was cool to see that it actually did require that we take out all those pikemen. Okay. And we acquired a card. This card can be added to your army and can be found in the command tent. Interesting. So, this is also a card in multiplayer Gwent, so part of me was thinking, like, oh, maybe this is also a way that you unlock those cards, but no. This does appear to be specific to Thronebreaker, not multiplayer Gwent. And it is a card that we were just using that previous puzzle. So that's good to see that we can improve the effectiveness of our deck through doing some of these puzzles and other optional pieces of content. And I thought another thing we were wondering was, we could see little bits and pieces of this card as we were getting the individual scraps. And I think we were asking ourselves, was it just sort of a placeholder picture we were seeing, or was the little bits and pieces of the art that we were seeing representative of the card that we would eventually gain? I think it was. I'm pretty sure the little pieces that we got were of the decoy card, so I think that is true. Okay. And so that is that puzzle there. Let's see, there's a little bit more for us to loot, though, which, of course we shall do. Ooh, this might be the wedding that we heard people talking about. Certainly looks like that might be the case. My guess is that is going to be the place of interest. Yeah, the point of interest there. Let's just look around a little bit more and make sure we're not missing anything else around here. Maybe we'll finish up on this point of interest here. So let's see. No, it might just be additional little pieces of loot, such as this. That could certainly be worth doing. And I thought that for the most part, we had picked up the long-term upgrades that we were looking for a little while back, and in which case, are we relatively good from an upgrade standpoint here? Or is there still something else that we'd be eyeing to go for next? Because, yeah, we were doing training grounds where we get additional recruits and additional gold with every battle completed. So that's good that we managed to get that early. But now it appears as though perhaps we are looking to go in a different direction here. Workshop could make it so that we can create additional units in the command tent. Presumably, generally speaking, the new units they can get are going to be stronger than the ones that we already have access to. And we have started to see some of these cards show up in some of our puzzles. The War Wagon, Crushing Trap. Don't think we've actually used the Forager yet, but that could be something that might be worth trying to pick up soon. And this is just seemingly a quality of life thing that I mean wouldn't be a bad thing to do per se, but this one in particular is quite expensive. So the saver in me wants to say we're fine without that. Those coins and that wood is better spent elsewhere, right? So perhaps, but it looks like either way we'd need to get this workshop upgrade first anyway, and we can't yet afford this. It's actually wood that looks like that's going to be the bottleneck, more so than gold, and we don't have either yet, but we're relatively close on gold. Let's just look elsewhere here. Looks like everything is locked. Oh no, hold on. Use scouts to mark the location of treasure and resources on your regional map. That also seems like largely quality of life thing. We can almost afford this. But if we're being pretty thorough with our exploration, I'm not sure we're going to need that. Unless there's other benefits to it, other things that we might not otherwise see. I mean, as long as we're thorough and keeping a keen eye out for things, and hopefully that's not a big factor and it may not be worth spending that many resources for it. Mess tent can't currently upgrade. Royal tent. Let's see. Increase the number of trinkets Meve can equip to 3. And I don't know how many we can equip right now. We also can't afford this right now. So I think no matter what, we don't really have the resources to do much there at the moment. We could potentially look to purchase some new cards. And we do, of course, now have the decoy, which might be worth including in our deck. Let's see, is it... So, turn an ally from the battlefield to our hand. We were seeing how using it with Reynard, I think, is generally what we were doing in all those puzzles. That is quite effective. So I do like that. We throw that in. Oh. Oh, okay. I think I see. So are these... What was the term that was used to describe the trinkets, was it? That Meve has? And it was saying increase the maximum amount that you can have to 3. And so I'm guessing that that's what both the Fortitude Tonic and the Decoy are. And so at the moment, if we were to get another one of these trinket cards, we would not be able to use one without swapping out for, or swapping something else out to make room for it. So that's interesting. Because at first I was looking at, well, we already have our maximum amounts here, and so perhaps we wouldn't actually be able to use Decoy without getting rid of something else, and then that was going to beg the question, is that worth doing? Perhaps, perhaps not. But if it's more so a question of just having a limit in terms of how many of these trinkets you can have, then, at least at the moment, that's not a constraint, but does give us other things to consider longer term, and does give a little more context as to why we might want to purchase that other upgrade to increase the maximum amount that we can have. Other thing is that I just want to check the mess tent to see, like, we were talking to Reynard previously, but how often does this sort of get updated? Like, if we're just walking around town, doing random loots and looting in puzzles and battles and what have you, does this give us more conversation options after doing that, or is it only, say, after doing a main quest mission that you'll actually start to see new people or have new dialogue options with the former people that you've already seen in the mess tent? Let's just see. There appears to be anything new here. Yeah, so this looks the same. So my guess then,
I attended to other matters.
my guess would be, sorry Reynard, that we will not have anything new going on in the mess tent until we actually progress with the main storyline. And generally, we see the exclamation points above one of the buildings when there's something of particular significance in that area. So that may be, you know, our signal to go check it out if we see one of those. The other thing would be the training grounds. Oh no, this is practicing our skills, basically. The command tent, I should say. If we wanted to purchase some of the other cards that we've unlocked, then that could be our way to spend resources now. But I think we're doing so many puzzles at the moment that, and those generally, if not always, give us custom decks. It just seems like short-term, there isn't too much of a need for that. So I'm thinking maybe we just continue to save up some resources until we have a decent amount and make sure that we can buy some nice cards that we actually want to have in our deck long-term, rather than going for just a minor short-term improvement that ultimately we're going to end up getting rid of very soon as we get access to better cards. Just trying to go for more of a long-term approach if we can, set ourselves up for success there. Let's see what this guy is all about. He has a question mark. My queen, your subjects are troubled. Tao has given birth to a two-headed calf, an omen for impending war. And send a priestess of Melatelli to dispel it, but not without cost. Okay, so again, this is a matter of, do we pay 50 coins at the same price it was previously, give ourselves high morale? And I think, we're neutral now, and I'm fine with that, because I think it resets so frequently that I thought we verified that after doing a puzzle, it does reset. And so, we're on high morale for a puzzle, and the puzzle doesn't actually care. I don't think it matters in the puzzle. We have, the improved stats from the high morale, because usually there are alternate objectives in the puzzle. It's not just a matter of scoring more points than your opponent. So, that kind of just feels like this is thrown away 50 coins, and, maybe we'll take one of these before we head over to the main quest, because I would think that'd be the most relevant time in which we'd want to make sure that we're on high morale, but at least as of right now, for the things we're about to do, I think we're fine. And is this guy... No, okay. So this guy we cannot come back to. It seemed as though people that we saw in that little town that we were passing along our way over here, that we were able to go back to that guy and still pay 50 coins to get the high morale whenever we want. So, we didn't really need two of those people in all likelihood, but having at least one to go back to is nice.
Welcome her we must. Tribute in hand.
Oh! Okay. Say, by any chance, do you have more tribute?
Ah, our queen. Why, pretty as a painting she is.
Thanks. Love the compliments. Appreciate it. But also, do you perchance have additional wood or gold?
Ups, merry little plant. Weddings without ye, revel we shan't. Folks say the black clads come our way. I say let 'em. We've pitchforks enough for 'em all.
Okay.
Folks say the black clads come our way. I say
That
let 'em.
seems like
We've
everything that this
pitchforks
guy
enough
has to
for
say
'em
to
all.
us. Then, obviously, it seems like the big thing is right here in the middle of town. Let's just make sure we aren't missing anything else in the area before we go here, because my guess is this is going to be a big deal that we are going to have to give our full attention.
Meve's ear suddenly caught brisk music and voices raised in song. She had no doubt. A wedding ceremony had just begun in a hamlet just off the high road. When the bride's father spotted the royal retinue, he rushed up to beg the queen to bless the newlyweds. Meve obliged cordially.
Okay, I was going to wonder if it was
The father
give us the
boldly
option to
invited
not
Meve
do it.
and her court to join in the festivities.
In which case, no, we would not be the evil queen and say no. We would still do
The
it.
strength
But
of fortune march ahead. We beg ye, eat, drink, and rejoice with us.
just continue along our path of accidentally being someone that everyone hates. I swear, it's not usually what happens when I play games. I usually try to do exactly the opposite, but... let's see. So, I suppose, sure, we'll... I mean, we could, I suppose, in that case, be the callous queen who doesn't care at all and just rides on, but no, we're gonna join in the celebrations.
I haven't slippers to dance in, but I trust I'll manage somehow. Lead on, good man.
Also have very heavy armor that we're wearing right now, but we'll find a way to dance.
Then the newlyweds and their guests walked in procession to a barn adorned with flowers. An uproarious celebration ensued. As she watched her soldiers dance shoulder to shoulder with peasants, Meve felt a surge of pride at being their queen.
Aww.
The heart of Lyria. It beat most powerfully here, not in the gilded halls of palaces.
That's so wholesome. So wholesome.
Suddenly, a
and
cry
sweet.
went up.
Except, hold on.
Rushed into the yard.
Not so wholesome anymore.
Lass, grab her.
Before anyone could stop them, the bandits took the bride and fled into the woods. The drums and fiddles, suddenly silenced, were now replaced by weeping, moaning, angry calls for pursuit. Deep grief upon his face, the host turned to Meve with a plea.
Milady, we beg of you, help us.
Well, certainly seems like I spoke too soon. It's a little too good to be true, wasn't it? It's a little too good to be true. Alright, let's see. We can order our soldiers to pursue, or we can gather our retinue and travel on. I mean, once again, we can just be a terrible person and say, nah, we don't care about you. Not important enough. You're just peasants. Or we can say, nah, you know, we are ruler of this whole place, and we're sort of supposed to maintain order and what have you. So, yeah, we're doing that.
We'll not leave you wanting, good man.
shouted the queen, slipping her feet into her stirrups.
We're not actually going to
Follow
try to
me.
be a terrible person long term.
Yeah!
The earth
It was just
trembled
coincidence
beneath
before.
the weight of horse and hoof. Tankards laid out for a midnight toast to the bride and groom clinked prematurely in the quake, and the Lyrians charged forth into the dark wood.
Okay, so I imagine that means this is gonna turn into a fight. Oh? Perhaps not yet? It says they went off into the woods. Is that gonna be this here? My guess is that's the case, because we went right past here before, and I do not believe there was previously a point of interest there. So, let's see. In the meantime, we may just be able to, you know, just do a little bit of looting first, and chatting and what have you. Oh, what is this? Your Majesty, fishermen dragged out an odd object from the Yavina. They claim it emits a magical aura of sorts. It's of no use to them. They're willing to part with it for a modest sum. Okay, magical artifacts and curiosities are the rightful property of the crown. Requisition the find immediately, so we can basically just say eminent domain. Thank you very much. We will take that, but suffer from poor morale in doing so and get a card fragment. Alternatively, we can pay for it, 100 gold, or we can just walk away. And I think we definitely do want to get the card fragment, because I was asking this question before, but I still don't necessarily know if say, the card fragments that you get, like say, I think we determined, at least for the previous card that we got via card fragments, that it took 4 pieces to actually complete it. Does that mean that there are 4 precise spots on which to get those 4 card fragments, and if you miss any of them, then you will carry on the game with, you know, 3 out of 4, 2 out of 4, 1 out of 4 of those card fragments, and you will just never complete that card. And any future card fragments that you get will just be card fragments for a different card. Or is it that basically any card fragments that you get will just get you closer to completing the current card that you are working toward? And that is significant because what that means is, if it's the former, you know, if there are predetermined cards that each card fragment is supposed to contribute towards, then that means that if you miss any of those fragments, then you are just guaranteed to fail. You are never going to complete that specific card. And so that would mean you have to be very certain that whenever there's a card fragment that you pick it up, otherwise you're missing out. Whereas if it's the other way, and, you know, any fragment that you get is just going to contribute to the current card that you're working towards, then a little bit less pressure. You know, you might not get, by the end of the game, all the possible cards to unlock, but at least you're not going to have, you know, 10 cards that are all 50% complete and you aren't able to use any of them, which is obviously pretty bad. So, I mean, we do have that other place where we could theoretically increase our morale. So this is the type of thing where you could make the case that actually, well, this is interesting. So basically, what we're doing here is we are paying 100 gold to not suffer poor morale, whereas if we do still have access to that other guy who can raise our morale, then we are also on net not changing our morale, because it's going to be lower from this and then back up to neutral once we buy the morale boost. That only costs 50 coins. That is basically the same net result, but just 50 coins cheaper. It takes a few additional steps, and it does require that other person can, in fact, still give us that morale boost, which it looked like was the case. Not the person right over here. That person did not appear to still be offering that, whereas the person in the previous little village was. So I think we do go for this, with the intention of, if we are concerned about morale, then we buy the morale boost from the other place. If we aren't, then of course we just save coins here. Oh, no, actually, hold on. Hold on. I suppose I suppose they actually do work toward predetermined cards here, because as it turns out, we obviously just recently completed the decoy, but we also had 2 out of 3 cards for the Lyrian Horn here and only just finished it. That means we were working on 2 different cards simultaneously. That is a little concerning then. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. This card is now complete. You can find it in the command tent. That also means that at this stage, we now have more of these trinket cards than we can currently use, assuming that this is, in fact, another one of the trinkets. That was loud. So, boost allies by 2 and damage enemies by 2. Okay. So this, you'd want to activate this late on. When you do, could be quite effective if you have a lot of units out there. Whereas this is just boost a single unit by 10. So that basically means that if there are, 5 units out there, then this is functionally the same as Fortitude Tonic. If there are any more than that, then this is better. So the upside is definitely higher than Fortitude Tonic. Fortitude Tonic is a little bit safer, just in case you don't have a lot of units out there. So, And Decoy, I think, is definitely still going to be our best, as long as we have Reynard, because he's pretty big to replay him. Alternatively, I mean, even an Arbalest is not terrible, assuming we have enough units out there to turn the Arbalest into a high damaging unit. Just allows us to deal that damage again. So, I think that means, well, let's just confirm our theory from before. Yeah, so we have maxed out on our trinkets. We can only have 2 at a time, at least until we make that upgrade. So I think let's get rid of Fortitude Tonic, and let's put in Lyrian Horn instead. I think that's going to be a little bit better. Again, it is technically a little bit higher risk, higher reward. But I don't think we need to do much for that to pay off. Again, just 5 total units and you break even. Any more than that and you win out.
Oh, to be young again. Heart bursting with love. Oh, to be young
And that
again.
appears as though that is the only thing that this guy has to say to us. Cannot chat with those individuals. In which case, I mean, unless there's other stuff here, which I don't think there is, I think we're looking to head back over to that spot where we now expect to run into a battle, or at least a puzzle or battle. I mean, reminds me a bit of the Straits of Spalla fight that we had a while back in the more northerly area, which was kind of a strange, it was technically, I think, a puzzle, but it felt a lot more like a battle. It kind of had 2 components. It was win, but also other stuff as well. Like, what is that going to be? Yeah, those are the enemies. But that's clearly one of the Straits of Spalla, and that's probably the person that they abducted. The person that I was referring to was this guy here, which I thought this guy was still offering, yeah, to raise our morale. So if we are concerned, then this is a way to raise our morale just for less coins. So if we want to do that, if we're concerned, then that is preferable. Let's do it just in case. You know, it's something that we could have theoretically saved for the main quest down there. But, you know, as long as we don't do anything to mess with our morale in between now and then maybe we'll be okay. Well, let's see what the deal is here.
Though the Lyrian cavalrymen had imbibed spirits throughout the night, they not only managed to stay upright in their saddles, but even gained on the bandits and cut off any chance of escape.
Just ignore the fact that we did several things before we actually chased these people down. That's beside the point. And it is... battle? Puzzle? Let's see. Abducted. The battle was waged in a dense, dark wood, moonbeams scarcely piercing its canopy. Had it not been for the bride's radiant white dress, the Lyrians might not have determined the enemy's position, despite the fact that they were quite literally just on the side of the road. And so, seeing double, they staggered to battle, the taste of cold vodka still on their lips. Prevent the bandit abductor from reaching the right side of the row. Okay, so I'm imagining this is going to be something where there's a lot of units on a row. This bandit abductor is going to be the quote-unquote, boss, or what have you. They're going to start out all the way on one end, and they're going to slowly work their way over, probably moving one space per turn. So my guess is that's going to be the special rules. And it's a shortened battle, so only one round. But it technically is not seemingly listing this as a puzzle here. I think it would say puzzle down here if it was, right? So I think this is technically a battle. Okay. This battle will last only one round. I mean, they're using the word battle, but again, it just feels like sometimes the terminology has been a little inconsistent with, is it actually battle, is it actually puzzle? We're getting a full hand here. So I think this is definitely pointing toward full-blown battle rather than just puzzle. And we get both of our trinkets. I actually don't know if that's guaranteed. That seems like an awfully strange coincidence that we got both of them. That might be a thing. And we got Reynard plus decoy, so I love that. And that works particularly well with something like Wagenberg. So we can definitely reset that order. Okay, we only have one Rivian Pikeman. That is the right amount, because we'll summon all of them from our deck as soon as we play it. So I'm thinking we might actually want to go Rivian Pikeman first. Then we'll go Lyria and Arbalist once there are all those Rivian Pikemen out there to significantly increase the amount of damage we can deal with this. Then, remind me what this does, play a random ally from your graveyard. So that would require that they deal a lot of damage to us for this to become relevant, which may or may not be the case. So play a unit from the top of our deck, which we can set up using our leader ability, and then you'll just get boosted a lot when we use our leader ability, which is good for putting up points in a battle, not as good for achieving specific objectives. So if we are to swap anything, I would say potentially you. And well, actually, let's take a look at our deck here real quick just to make sure. So I don't want to get any additional Rivian Pikemen in our hand, because we will get, or actually there's only one more in our deck, so I say that as if there are a bunch, but let's try this. Okay, Count Caldwell is probably our other best card. Can I copy adjacent unit from your deck? Yeah, so that's probably what we'd want to do. Maybe Wagenberg and an Arbalist. It does mean that we need to have additional copies of those cards in our deck. So yeah, we do have a Wagenberg. We would, in all likelihood, have another Arbalist unless we go totally crazy with Reynard on the Regiment Drummer. I think this is probably for the best, this setup here.
Stop them!
Okay, let's see. So yeah, Bandit Abductor. Every turn on turn start, move one place to the right. Whenever this unit takes damage, move one place to the left. Oh! Okay, so we can slow him down that way. Interesting. This unit moves to the rightmost side of the row. Meve is defeated. Okay. So, that's interesting. And it has 5 power, but it has 25 armor, so it is very hard to take down. And these are just Lyrian huts with no abilities? Okay. So, the interesting thing here is that we probably don't need to actually destroy the Bandit Abductor. We just need to slow him down by keeping on with the damage to keep him on the left side of the row, and then if we score more points than our opponent, then we win. Just double check. The rules prevent the Bandit Abductor from reaching the right side of the row. Yeah. So, more than anything, I think what we're going to want is just frequent damage. Frequent damage. Don't... maybe don't care as much about maximizing our score here. Let's see. And then remind me, this is permanent resilience. When Meve uses her ability, reduce her cooldown by 1. And we can move this to the other row, which is a way we can set up Wagenberg a little bit more. So, remember that Strays of Spala... See, every 2 turns on turn start, move Bandit Abductor. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I'm just gonna move... Wait, hold on. Does that mean... Is that in addition to this card's ability? I think it is. Every 2 turns on turn start, move Bandit Abductor 1 position to the right. So every other turn, this is actually going to move 2 cards to the right, isn't it? I think that may be the case, using their leader ability. That's a good thing we double-checked that. That could have been a big problem. What I was going to say, though, is that remember, Straits of Spala, whenever we fought them in the past, tend to have a fair bit of damage. The first card that we play may very well get destroyed. We do, of course, have... Where'd you go? you play a random ally from your graveyard. So, in some ways, we could deliberately play something first with the intention of it, or at least with the expectation that it will get destroyed. I think we do try the Wagenburg just because it's important to try to get this down first. And understand that there's a decent chance that it gets destroyed, in which case we'll follow up with a field medic to get it back out. Let's go for it. And with our leader ability, move cards to the top. Remember that it has to be a blitz unit for our drummer to be able to summon it. That means we can't get the second Wagenburg that way, because it is not a blitz unit, but we can get it through Count Caldwell, so we should still be able to get this out. This is also not a blitz unit, so probably means we're going for a Lyria and Rivia, unless we go for a War Wagon. But remember, like I was saying, I think more so than the pure damage, we may just be looking for the frequent damage to keep the bandit dude all the way on the left side, rather than trying to outright destroy him. So let's give it a shot here, going with the Arbalist at the top. Are we actually on our leader ability? I don't think we were just looking at our deck. So, there we go. Put you on top. Okay. We'll end our turn. Like I said, I suspect this is going to get destroyed. That moves one. Okay, Stray's Cavalry. That's not the card I was expecting them to play. Mark a unit. Every turn on turn start, damage it by 1. The mark unit is destroyed. Mark another random enemy. Okay. So yeah, this will start taking damage, yes. But, not exactly in the way that I was expecting it to happen. I thought they were going to use the... I think it's just called Strays of Spala. Card that moves it to the other row and damages it by fair amount. I forget exactly how much, but it's destroyed a Wagenburg in one turn in the past, so I thought that was going to happen here. So, I think what we do now is... Let's see. I think we just want to get the damage out here on this turn with the Arbalist to move you back. And, I mean, it's not a ton of damage. So we would, in some ways, like to go Rivia and Pikeman first, just to get a few more units out there. That would mean we'd give the Abductor one additional turn to move forward. But if we could get both the Wagenburg to use its order ability and the deploy ability on the Arbalist on the same turn, then we could move that Abductor 2 spots back on the same turn. That is possible, but it would require that the Wagenburg actually survives, which it may not. And, you know, we have the intention of using the field medic to bring it back, but even if we do that, it would still take a turn before it can use its order ability, and it would still need to get some armor back. So I think we maybe do get a little bit greedy here and try going with the Pikeman, just to power this up. Does give it 2 armor, which means that in theory it's a little bit tankier if it does start to get damage, which we know it will. So, again, go with another Stray's Cavalry. So now I think is when we go with the Arbalist. Oh, and also, Lyria and Horn. This is going to be very helpful. It's another way to damage this bandit abductor. But I like that. So I think... Yeah, I think what we do now is actually... Oh, hold on. We could go Regiment Drummer, actually. I think it's... no, but it takes a turn for this to trigger. So I was going to say, I see our leader ability is back off cooldown right now. So that means we could have been a little bit more aggressive here. That might have actually been preferable, though I think it was. I think we probably do... How long are we willing to wait? How long are we willing to wait before we actually start dealing damage? It will mean we're moving this bandit abductor further, but it does mean that if we get a Regiment Drummer, the damage from the Wagenburg, and the Arbalist, then we could move them back 3 spots in 1 turn. So in theory, you know, it's just we're making it a chunkier turn. We're just saving up for a big one. It's not actually any worse long-term unless this Wagenburg actually gets destroyed, which it could. I think we do this. I mean, it's technically we're not able to use it on this turn anyway, so we're still not really getting the value we'd like to get out of this leader ability charge, and you could potentially make the case that it would be worth saving this, but, you know, actually, I mean, either way, we just get another Arbalest at the top, so... Yeah, I suppose we can sort of stack them up that way. We can just line them up, put them in a queue. And so it doesn't need to be perfectly synchronized that we're using that ability on the same turn that we're activating the Regiment Drummer. So I'm gonna wait on the Wagenburg. It's a risk. That's the biggest risk here, is that that actually gets destroyed. And it could here. It could.
Don't shake that.
Ooh. Set a row on fire.
We must stop them.
Don't think we've seen that one before. Every turn on turn start, all units in this row have a 33% chance of taking 2 damage. Okay. That would potentially be enough to destroy this Wagenburg if it is one of the cards that ends up taking that damage. It lost its armor as well, which is not good. But this is the big turn that we were waiting for. So what do we do here? We go Regiment Drummer. We'll activate this. Bring out an Arbalest. With this Arbalest, we're going to hit you. That'll move you back 1 spot. Then we're going to go another Arbalest, and we want to make sure we put this next to Wagenburg. That'll move you back another spot. Because now if we play Caldwell on a future turn, we'd love to be able to double down and get additional copies of both of these cards. In fact, actually, okay, we do still have enough Arbalists. I was going to say, we're going to run out of Arbalists in our deck to make that happen. Don't think so. Don't think so. So, it is actually potentially even worth moving this. We will eventually move this Lyrian banner in. It might be best to wait to do that until we get a second Wagenburg. And if we're just looking at how much life / really armor this Bandit Abductor has, I mean, we've dealt a fair bit of damage with the Arbalest here. I'm going to deliberately save the Wagenburg's ability just because I want to try to hedge our bets a little bit here in case it does take 2 damage from the fire. Oh, but it's going to take... Oh, hold on. Hold on. It's going to take 3 damage from these strays. So it's going down at the start of the next turn. Basically, as soon as we press this end turn button, it's going to go down no matter what. So we might as well get some damage and go down with the fight. Let's do it. And then what we'll do is we'll use the field medic. And we really hope that this is the only card that gets destroyed and this one does not take damage from fire so that we're guaranteed to get a Wagenburg, but that might not happen. So we shall see. I mean, we could even move this back in the melee row, but even if we do that, it has 1 power, 1 armor, it still gets destroyed, so that's not enough. Let's see. So it does go down, and it has moved the target to this Lyria and Arbalest. Now they're burning this row, which does not matter at all. And actually, yes, this Rivian Pikeman did not get damaged by the fire, so that's big. Because that means that we should now be able to do this. And... I'm just wondering. Is this a card that we could potentially want another copy of? Using Count Caldwell? Would we be planning on that at all? Do we have another one in our deck? We do. We do. We don't have other cards in our graveyard at the moment, but if they continue to deal more damage to us, then that seems like that may just become inevitable. I also wonder if... Where is it? These guys. It says, when a marked unit is destroyed, mark another random enemy. Okay, I was going to say, was it a coincidence that it just so happened to go from the leftmost unit to the next leftmost unit? It's just going to keep on going 1 unit to the next in line there, but based on how that says random, I'm thinking that was just a coincidence. So, let's go with the field medic here. And we're just going to continue to load up on basically as many units as we can get in this row here. So that way when we play future Lyria and Arbalest, they deal more damage. So we have our leader ability back here. Let's use that. And, I mean, we'll just continue to put more Arbalists at the top if we have any. We do have at least 1 here. And, oh. I forgot. These Lyrian Arbalists have the loyal ability to deal damage to units whenever we use our leader ability. That's big. That just moved this back. It dealt more damage to it as well, and we're going to get more of those Arbalists out there. But it was a random enemy unit and happened to hit that? Okay, that's huge. That's huge. Okay, so we lost the medic. And this Arbalest is going to keep on taking some damage here. Wagenburg. Oh, interesting. previously we had one unit that was marked, and it seemed as though all these guys were dealing damage to that one unit. Now we have 2 units that are marked, and that's a bit of an issue here. So, I think... Let's see. What do we want to go with this time? Want to go Caldwell here while we still can to get this combo? I think we may. I think we may, because otherwise we might miss out on that opportunity. So let's go for it.
If you insist.
And so then the Arbalist... I don't think it's going to matter on this occasion where we put you.
Arbalist at your command.
And now it has only 1 armor and 5 power remaining, so we're getting awfully close here. Would have actually preferred if these had been up in the opposite order, though. So that way, this would have gained some armor, and this would have had more damage. But, let's see. So, they have 1, 2, 3 cavalry. So, I guess I'm just not totally sure how this damage is going to get split between our different units here. This Arbalist, I mean, it does have the damage come from the loyal component, so we'd like to save that. But we probably still... It wouldn't be the end of the world if it goes down. Whereas this Wagenberg, we very much want to still have the ability to use this. So what if we... What if we even... Oh, I don't think we damage the Bandit Abductor here, because although it does deal 3 damage, which is close to being enough... Actually, hold on. Yeah, do that. Why? Because we can just win on our next turn. That way. Maybe would have even meant Lyria and Banner might not have been a bad idea, although we need to make sure that we had room for this. Which we should now. So they deal the damage, and I don't know, actually, if this is going to immediately end things as soon as we do take out this unit, but we can take it out on this turn right now. So, why don't we use our leader ability, and that'll deal some damage from these Arbalists, or actually, we should go Arbalist first, to tell you the truth, because then we're getting the additional loyal trigger in here. So this might end it. And in fact, it does. Not so bad, to tell you the truth. I mean, we had considering how we had 3 additional cards here, and we had additional damage we could deal on that turn, we had a lot of margin for error.
Meve's troops defeated the bandits and rescued the bride. Only to be surprised. For the maiden fair dropped to her knees and burst into tears of sorrow, not joy.
Not gonna lie, I thought that was gonna say
Child.
burst into
The queen
flames.
said,
Well,
placing
that was
her
a dark
arm
turn.
upon her shoulder.
It's over. You're free.
Nay, not so, your majesty.
Hmm?
Milady, I've no love for Jan. No wish to wed him.
Oh.
It's my father. My family forced me.
Oh.
My
Well, that's
heart's
awkward.
members. He arranged the masquerade. I beg ye.
Oh!
If you've 1 ounce of kindness, if you've a heart, let us leave this place together and free.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. So that whole thing was staged, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, yeah, we just continue to do the things that people hate us, don't we? People just continue to hate us. We can give the lovers leave to flee, or send the girl home. So if we send her home, she's going to wed someone that she doesn't want to wed. If we let her flee, then she gets to actually be with the person that she wants to be with. However, you know, it's you know, throwing this whole wedding ordeal, it's basically just, well, lying to the well, I mean, yeah, is she the one lying to her would-be husband? That kind of, sort of, you know, it's partially her father making them wed when it's not something that she wanted to do. So it's a tricky situation. I would say, you know, we've been doing a lot of the things that make people hate us. Let's be nice. Let's be nice.
This scheme you've pursued, I can't condone. Folk have been wounded. Some might have died.
Said the queen.
Yet, equally,
Okay, for a second there, I thought
cannot
she was
let
going to do the
others
opposite of
force
what I
you to
intended.
marry.
That was making me nervous.
May we go, your grace?
you may. Fast as your legs will carry you, afore I've a change of heart.
Oh, and look at that. For having done that, we get a card added. Oh, that makes me wonder. Did we miss out on a card when we made the priestesses mad at us? Probably. Probably, but that's good to know. That is good to know that is on the table as potential rewards. If we successfully complete quests, then perhaps more often than not, we may get a card like this to add to our collection, and that would be awfully nice. We get Lyrian Merlot.
Though none
Explain.
dared utter a word of chagrin, Meve sensed her subjects' bitter gazes upon her.
Hey, we
At
got a
the
card
first
for it,
light of
guys,
the
okay?
morn,
It was
she
worth it.
left, without so much as a nod goodbye.
You wouldn't understand, okay? You just wouldn't understand. You see, the thing is, for all of these encounters, we have to do this whole thing where we play a card game, and when it comes to playing the card game, you know, having stronger cards means that we have better chance of success. So even though you may not have necessarily approved with what we went with there, it actually increases the likelihood that we'll succeed going forward. So for that reason, it is actually still long-term in our best interest to go that route. But anyways, let's take a quick look at that card. Let's see. Oh, and it's also the trinkets. We are very quickly getting tons more trinkets, and it's going to be hard to find room for them. Let's see. Who's the lowest ally by the power of the highest ally? That's an interesting one. That one, I mean, it's just pure points. Whereas the other ones that we have a little bit more nuance to them, since they have a combination of potential points and potential damage. So I probably do still prefer what we have going on right now, but there are situations where, at least from pure point standpoint, this is probably better, or at least could be better in some situations for battles, whereas for the more specific, objective-oriented things, I'm thinking the damage is just so often so helpful. So probably do stick with these, but it's a nice thing to have in our back pocket in case we do find ourselves wanting to switch later on. So happy to have picked it up at the very least. But with that being said, I think that makes this a good place for us to wrap up here. So thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you next time.